Hello and welcome back to Portugal for another video involving some lime, quicklime in particular, but a slightly different kind of mix, which is a massive experiment, and there is a big caveat across this whole thing. We have no idea if it's going to work at all.
So if you watched our little ask video about insulation, you'll have heard me talk about doing a lime and hemp plaster on our stone walls. Now, I've done a lot of research, and most of the lime hemp solutions out there either use a hydraulic lime or they use a hydrated lime. Some people talk about hot mixing, so using a quicklime and slaking it through the adding water process, but it seems to be an industry secret of the ratios that you do the mixing of the lime, the water and the hemp. We don't have access to any of the pre-mixed solutions, and that would be quite expensive. I don't want to use hydraulic lime because I don't believe that that's the correct product to use on stone walls without a damp proof course. Hydrated lime we probably could find, but quicklime is like right on our doorstep and it's very affordable. So what we're going to do is try and find a mix that works for us. I have found lots of ratios for hydrated lime mixes, so a hydrated lime with water and hemp. And so I've used that because hydrated lime is effectively double the volume of quicklime. I know we've gone backwards and kind of extrapolated out the ratio of what we think the correct ratios would be if we're using quicklime.
And to those of you who just enjoy watching this stuff and have no real interest in the technical details of all this hydrated, hydraulic, anhydrous, quicklime, hydrated lime, slaked lime, blah 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 blah, we're doing an experiment to work out how to best mix some plaster to go on our stone walls.
But also to test whether it stays on the walls.
Yes, and that is also going to test our almost non-existent plastering skills.
So the ratio we're starting with is 1 part quicklime. So we've got, how many litres in these buckets?
Let's say they're 15 litres.
Let's say the buckets are 15. I think they're actually 17. But we're starting with 1 bucket of quicklime, 1 bucket of hemp shiv, 1.5 buckets of water, and then we're going to have a 2nd bucket of hemp in reserve to add in to get the right mix. Now I think we're going to end up with 1 quicklime, 2, maybe 2.5 hemp, 1.5 water. So that's kind of what we're testing. And the hemp that we're using is not really, it is construction grade, but this is actual animal bedding. I have found 2 providers, one in Portugal and one in Spain, of hemp shiv, who are willing to ship to us. And I just need to calculate how much we need. And so that's also part of this experiment, is if we can work out, okay, a 15 litre bucket gives us this much wall coverage at a 20 mil thickness, then I can do the math to work out, well, how much hemp, how many bales of hemp do we need to be able to do the downstairs.
Oh, it's very, very compacted. So this is the hemp shiv.
Or hemp food.
So this material, hemp, or this is the ground up stalk of the hemp plant, it comes from the same plant as a recreational smokable type thing, which we're not into, but we're quite interested in building with hemp because it's got loads of really interesting insulative properties. It's also widely used in the fashion industry. And what else? What is the other thing?
Paper.
Paper?
Yeah.
Hemp paper.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
It's also super fast growing. I think they say it's like 18 weeks from putting it in the ground to being a mature plant that can be harvested.
Wow.
And it is carbon neutral. So it consumes a lot of carbon out of the atmosphere, and that is almost equal to the amount of carbon that is used in the processing to get it to this package state. So it's called a carbon neutral product. So it's obviously good for the environment. But it's a fast growing thing. It's one of the fastest growing plants that can be used in lots and lots of different industries. And there's almost no downside, so it doesn't take much water.
There probably are some downsides, and
Yeah,
people
there
will
might
probably
be.
tell us what they are.
Yeah, but I think it's mostly grown organic because it just grows. It doesn't need a lot. It doesn't have a lot of pests. But yeah, it's natural. We like natural building. Dirty water.
I had a bit of sand in the back of that. Using the hemp as a way to try and keep the heat in from the reaction between the lime and the water. We'll see if it works. We have no idea. Hang on, it's getting very dusty.
It's just steam, right?
Steam everywhere. Yeah, why don't you have a look?
Oh, it's warm. I can feel it on my legs.
Yeah, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh yeah, wow. I mean, it's done a similar kind of thing that happens with the sand. That is not wet enough, for sure.
Ooh, lots of steam stuff in there.
Yeah. Initial thoughts?
That'd be interesting.
I mean, it's still very, very dry. Should we add a bit of water and give it a mix?
Yeah. So what's that, a half a bucket?
Yeah. It's like it's clumping together in the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
I can't get the mixer into it. I think this hemp is very absorbent. Should have got the DeWalt mixer. I mean, that is very smooth.
I think that's what it's meant to look like, right?
It feels like there's too much lime in there.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, you can
Have a
add
look at
more
this.
hemp.
That is crazy looking.
It's kind of porridgey.
Yeah, and it smells kind of porridgey. In fact, it smells very similar to when I brew beer. So I don't know if we mentioned before or not, we may have mentioned it in a different video, about this quicklime. When you slake it, which is essentially you add water to it, it increases in volume, so it essentially doubles in size. And so whilst we put in 1 bucket of quicklime and 1 bucket of hemp, we've essentially got a 2-part lime to 1 part hemp mix at the moment. And it feels a little bit too limey. It feels like there is too much lime coating each hemp fibre. And so we're going to modify it slightly. Just add a little bit of water, a little bit of hemp, a little bit of water, a little bit of hemp, until we kind of get something that feels like the right consistency. And then we'll try and stick some on the wall.
So I've reserved like this much. It's a bucket's worth. Not even a bucket's worth, half a bucket's worth. Just in case this is the correct mix, so that we can test putting that on the wall. I don't think it's correct, but we'll see. So I think maybe I did my lime hemp math wrong. So the recipes that I've been going on were for hydrated lime, and I didn't take into account the extra water that would be needed to hydrate the quicklime. So I think the hemp and the lime quantities were right. I think I was out by 1 litre of water. So that's why we're going to add in 1 litre of water, add in the second bucket of hemp and slowly mix it in. And that should result in the correct mix based on the recipe that I found from a French hemp company.
You said 1 litre of water. Do you mean a bucket
A bucket,
of water? Okay,
sorry.
just checking.
A bucket, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's some of the lime still
slaking.
Still
a little bit.
slaking.
Only a little bit though.
I would actually carefully mix that first before I add
Yes,
the hemp, because the
that's a good
hemp's
idea.
going to absorb all the water
Yeah,
otherwise.
I agree. That looks good from a consistency perspective, but maybe still too much lime.
Yeah, so we can just add some more water.
Okay.
We want to get to the end where we've had that whole bucket used up and this hemp. As soon as I add the hemp, it's going to absorb all the water. So give it a really quick mix, and then I'll throw in some hemp as a mixing.
Okay. Oh, that is exhausting.
It really smells. Oh my
Good.
god. What do you reckon of that?
I think it needs more of a mix. Should we try that?
Yeah, let's have a look at that.
It's very sticky.
Wowzers. Yep.
Well, in terms of our experiments and not being sure if this was going to work, I would say so far it is definitely possible to hot mix quicklime and hemp shiv, because we have done it. Whether it sticks to the wall and dries as it should and behaves as it should as a material, we have yet to see. But so far so good. You're playing with sticky balls again.
Yes. And they're hot. Hot sticky balls. Oh, these are much stickier. Interesting. So I think from what I've seen, this mix looks more correct. It's
As like
wetter,
a plaster.
it's stickier. This is more like,
It's more like clay.
yeah, it's too lime heavy. This is much more hemp heavy. I think you could use both. This will obviously have a better insulating value because it's got more hemp in it.
You want some of this one in there?
Yeah.
It's nice and light.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So there is I'll put this, I'll get Guy to put this in a link in the description. There is a couple in the UK called the Restoration Couple.
Yep.
And this is where I first saw lime plaster years and years and years ago. Again, like hemp lime plaster, before I'd even thought of doing this. And they get pre-packed, they got pre-packed bags, but they use their fingers, much like I'm about to here.
So this is the first one, is it, that you're doing now?
Yeah, this is the first batch. And they use their fingertips and just kind of, I mean...
Seems to be sort of working, but also sort of not.
It's quite different to the second video that we saw, where they were using a trowel, and it was much wetter, like our second batch.
Yeah.
But
It seems like it's not sticking to the wall as well as...
yeah, as one
Tim's
was led to believe. But the sticking,
Yeah, okay.
we also didn't really scratch this up too much.
Oh, but it's so irregular because it's, you know, just a load of stones.
I also think I'm just putting it on a bit too thick.
Maybe. Should we try it with a trowel?
I quite like doing this with my hands. You can try it with a trowel.
So this is the wetter mix, and I'm going to try it with a trowel, but I have literally never done this kind of troweling before, so we'll have to see if it works at all. Can you see this in the shot?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it really sticks, eh? But that looks kind of weird.
It looks like straw.
Like a straw bale house. It's very, very thick. Let's put the hawk down for a bit. I mean, it's weird. Really weird.
So that other video that we watched where he did the troweling, it wasn't like this, right?
No, it
wasn't as fibrous.
didn't have as many fibres in it, yeah.
Try the other stuff. Try the less wet one.
Because that's quite hard to work it in terms of getting it level. I mean, it's sticking quite well, which is nice, but it's not moving around as a material.
But I don't think it's meant to move too much. It's just like you stick it on.
Yeah, but if you wanted to kind of get it level...
Yes,
then...
but I don't think you do that too much on the first coat.
Okay. So if this had more water in it...
Well, I was about to say we'll do that next.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is... It's almost like solid... It's still very fibrous. The other guy's is definitely much more...
Wet. Much wetter.
This is very firm.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take that bucket and let's just add a tiny bit of water and just mix it by hand.
Yeah.
Or mix it with the machine in that little bucket.
Yeah. I mean, you're able to get it
Yeah.
quite smooth with a bit of pressure. It's an interesting finish, hey? Oh, and that was your bit down there.
Careful.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like you're trying to work it too much.
Yeah, maybe I am. Because it's very, very stiff.
Yeah.
Let's add some water. See, that is a nice creamy consistency. It's like a porridge with a bit of yogurt. I mean, it's still pretty sticky.
Yeah, very sticky.
It's almost
I'm actually surprised.
It's like a meringue with stiff peaks. Yeah, so I saw somebody do this on a YouTube video.
Oh, you're splashing it everywhere.
Yeah, they weren't splashing it quite as much as I am.
That's why I think it's a bit too wet still.
Maybe it's a bit too wet. Let's see.
Let's see.
I've got to get some trowel skills from somewhere. I mean, it definitely moves around a lot more. Like, if I wanted to smooth it out, as opposed to just laying it on.
You're not meant to work it too much.
Running out of mix here.
Very strange stuff.
It's very strange stuff. So this is the more fibrous mix, but with more water added to try and get it a little bit more smooth and liquid. Let's see.
It sticks really well.
It sticks really well, yeah.
And it kind of spreads.
Yeah, it does. This is definitely not the right technique, but we're getting there.
Can you go sideways with it? Or is it not possible? It also seems to be drying really fast. And I think that's just the hemp absorbing the water.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sure there's some expert hemp plasterers out there shouting at us.
Oh, I'm sure they are. But at least we're having a go. Because I don't know of any expert hemp plasterers in the interior of Portugal area that we know of. who can speak English. But if you are out there, do get in touch. I mean, it's not bad, right? And we're not going for super smooth, perfect finish. We want a bit more rustic, but...
You just get it on.
So I'm definitely more of a fan of the lower hemp ratio from a getting it on the wall perspective.
I just think maybe this mixture here needs a bit more water. No?
Maybe. No, it's just it's too fibrous in my opinion.
Oh, that's why people use their hands.
Right. Okay.
There you go. That's a bit better.
But yeah, I just think it's a little on the fibrous side.
Okay. So you'd prefer to stick to the one hemp?
Yeah.
Okay.
This doesn't move as well on the hawk as the sand version.
No, again, I think you need to use your hands.
Maybe, we'll see.
Yeah.
That was a weird noise.
A bit like tuna mayonnaise, that's what I was also thinking. This is definitely a technique that I favour. Just putting a blob on and then I'm just using my hand to spread it across and up. So I've got 2 pairs of these gloves on and a little bit of moisture's coming through. So I will definitely be going and getting some better gloves for this. But
it's coming together really well.
yeah, and I think with this technique, so this is the final mix, a much more fibrous mix. And it's much easier with the hands to get the thicker layer on. And I can just put it on like that. No worries. And you know, if you're a smoothness freak, you could obviously then come with a trowel and smooth it out.
Or with a big straight edge if you really wanted. But
yeah, you could. And I definitely think when I come back tomorrow, you could definitely try that a bit more. There is controversy over whether to key it or not. I've seen some places say you must absolutely key it to get the next coat on.
You mean like scratch it?
Yeah, and then other
fork?
people say, yeah, you don't really need to key it.
I've seen someone use just a brush.
Yeah, I think if you just use your hands and didn't go over it with a trowel, it would have enough rough spots there to get the next coat to stick. And if the lime is sticky enough, it should just go on.
So would you say a success?
Yeah, like this also feels like progress. We now have this small one side of our doorway that has got some plaster on it.
It almost looks like a finished wall.
Almost.
It's not, obviously.
But what this has done is it means that now I can go and do the calculation for how much hemp we need to do the entire downstairs plastering, and I can go and order it. Because as soon as we finish dubbing out this wall with just the lime, we're going to do our first fix, and then we'll be doing this in these 2 rooms. So need to get that on site pretty quick smart.
So, my friends, what have we learnt today? Well, working with lime is very messy, and you can have a lot of fun with chicken bedding and reactive powders. But what I think we've also learnt is it is possible to hot mix hemp lime plaster, whether you've got a lot of hemp or a lot of lime. Both seem to work okay. I think we will probably stick with the more fibrous version mix for like a base coat, and then maybe a slightly more lime heavy mix for a top coat because it's a bit smoother and flows around a little bit more. We've tested filling holes, and we've tested kind of doing a base coat of plaster for a wall. Time will tell to see how it dries and how it reacts and how long it takes to dry and all of that kind of stuff. But I think that was a good day's work and some good experimentation. And so I'm sure we'll learn a lot more about it as we go, and I'm sure our trowel skills will also improve slightly. Although Kylie really likes the hand method. So I think that's it for now. We will see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Bye.